Hey, hello everybody. I am here today with Claudio. I've got two icons. I've got my other icon. This is the Unscrambled Channel icon, but I'm on twice. You can see me twice. But I'm on with lovely Claudio. Hello, Claudio.
Hi, Karen. How you doing?
Yeah, Claudio's come after my videos to give us some beauty, harmony, and peace, haven't you?
Yeah, just trying to shed some light and make things positive with all the not positive things that are going on in the world. That is try
Well,
to explain what's going on and help people.
we were explaining just that before we came on air, that you were saying that you like the peace, harmony, and beauty, but they could be doing these things to us. So I like to put it out to the public and let people know what's going on. But hopefully we end up where you are, Claudio.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's up to us what we allow in our head every day. So our whole mood is based on what images, what topics, what we choose to put in our head. If something's happening in a video on the other side of the
Oh,
world,
I
then
understand that. Even James has been doing that. It's about going into yourself and looking at yourself. He did a great video the other day. But you know what? If the policeman comes round to your house or they tell you
they're not
you've
going to.
got to do this or we're
No,
taking your house
I'm
away,
free. I'm
people are
free
going
and
to
I'm
do it.
safe. I'm free and I'm safe, and I don't allow those images or thoughts to come into my head, Karen. So nor do I even want to talk about them
Well, I
because
don't
you
watch
get
television, and
right.
everybody needs to realise that government is to control the mind. Just like those videos
Okay,
with
so
the video I was telling
yeah,
you about with when
yeah.
you know
So
Bing
the
Crosby's
control,
playing all those parts. So they're trying to
right? The
control
control of the
us.
mind. The control of the mind is the exact topic we're talking about right now. The control of the mind is somebody saying to you that somebody's going to do something that's not good to you. The control comes in when you let it in. When you let it into your being, it becomes part of you, and it it consumes you, and you don't want to do that. What you want to do is surround yourself with good people, good videos. There's people out there living their beautiful lives like nothing's happened. Why? They choose not to let it in. So we want to say we want to teach them truth. Well, that's fine. We have enough videos out there that show them what the rabbit hole was like, and now it's time for us to move on. It's all happening in the stars. We have to release the materialistic thoughts, the not good thoughts. So anything that anything that happens now is up to you. So you are controlling your mind, nobody else. You are controlling what's coming into your mind, nothing else. So if we want to sit all day and watch what's happening to other people around the world, that's not for you. That's somebody else's karmic attachment. So
Well,
so
they're not happening, but let's just hope that we win.
no, we already won.
Because the people are wearing masks and stuff. The people are listening to it all and will fall into it all and think that if you don't wear a mask, you're the problem. So it is happening. Let's just hope that more
It doesn't
people
happen with
wake up.
us. It doesn't happen with us. We walk where we want.
When they put all this stuff out, I'm just
Yeah,
hoping
but
that people start really waking up and realizing what they're
well,
doing.
that's what I want. That's what I want to talk about, because when you fix your being and only let positive images, vibrations, thoughts come in, the muddy waters gets parted for you. I'll take a wrong turn. Like, we're going to a park for a picnic with a bunch of friends. Why did I take that wrong turn? Because when I got there was two cars waiting to pull in a full parking lot. Two cars pulled out. Those two pulled in. I pulled in anyway. Another car pulled out. I got the spot. If I didn't make the wrong turn, then we would have got there and seen the backup. We would have went and parked, 4 or 5 blocks down the street. So it's just little things like that. Mother Nature, the mother of all mothers, wants you to behave that way. Just be at peace and harmony. And she's back allowing you and now vibrating us and giving us all the support we need so that we no longer have to have these thoughts of those that are not good. So if you can practice that every day, you'll see it. For example, we went to that same park. all of a sudden, out of the blue, Kathy said, and she had some really good things happen to her that was very synchronistic in that morning yesterday. We go to that same park, we get out of the car. The crow starts squawking. I'm similar to that squawk because the crows have been training me. And Kathy's been a big part of watching it all happen. So we went and I went to walk around the park, and then there's a beach on the intercoastal, walk the beach on the way back. We get into the car and he changed his squawk to something that's more familiar to me, which means something like there's going to be something happening. It was close to deception because I know what the deception sounds like, but it was something similar. We do our grocery shopping, we leave the grocery shop, and right around, there's a big long block into this community here that's it's a big sidewalk, it's all landscaped, and Kathy saw a guy who had his head he's face palming his own face, leaning with his other arm against a pole. So Kathy said, let's go turn back around, see if he's okay. Of course, you got to do a couple of great big U-turns to get on these busy streets to go back around to him. He was down on his back, face up, passed right out. So security, so we yelled at him, are you okay, are you okay? So we went and grabbed security, who called, there's a security there. They went out there, they started CPR on him. I went and grabbed my bicycle, dropped Kathy off, went back there. By the time I got there, like I said, there was security was doing CPR on him. There was a doctor there that had taken over. So a doctor stopped by and was pumping. So then the paramedics came. The arm did move a little bit while he was pumping him. So I'm going, oh, thank God. Paramedics came. They gave him an injection of probably on something that they know how to give him an injection, and he snapped right out of it. So you could see that the crow was telling us that's about to happen, and it all turned out beautiful. So if you think beautiful, you will see beautiful things transpire in front of your eyes. If you let in the other stuff, the not good stuff, the things that's happening to other people that aren't supposed to be part of your life, you're not inviting it in. If you choose to keep those images, you are telling the universe, vibe me with that. Give me some of that. I want some of that. Not good stuff. Then you'll get it. It's that simple. So I have a couple of slides that I'd like to share on some of the meanings behind that. I won't go in depth, but I'll have them there if somebody wants to look at them, because we're going to be making a movie on it. But basically, the general consensus is you are what you portray. We are in control of how our mind gets filled. So nobody's filling it. We choose to watch something to let it get filled. If you choose not to, then it won't come your way. There's so many people around this earth. There's probably 1 billion of us that are in that predicament, and the rest are not. Right? And they get paid for by the government because they have to pay them. They just don't want to let you know that. And that whole thing is turning around. We had a little brief discussion before that, Karen, but that's turning around now. The government has to now come up with a way to let people know why they're giving everybody money. They won't fess up to the truth that they've been stealing from everybody since 1,000, 1,500 years now.
Well, can I say one? I'm not making it bad, by the way. I'm not putting negative energy in here. I came across a video yesterday. It may be that the Tartarians were actually in America, and that's what the Independence Day was about. And that's why you have your constitution like you do, where you can get the government out, because the Tartarians lived a great, prosperous life. They were at peace with their government and everything. They weren't living like we do. And then came us. And so that's maybe what Independence Day was about.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, spiritually, we just came out of the Dark Ages, meaning the least amount of love. Everybody uses that word dark like it's a not good thing. No. The Dark Ages means there's the least amount of love. It's our test to know what it's like to be without love.
I know
And
it doesn't
now,
really matter in the end, Claudia, but we don't know what the time span of anything is anymore, do we? Like his
well, that's what,
story is
no,
his
but we
story.
do. No, but we do know the time span of the future.
Well, we're
It's in all the
making the
videos.
future, aren't we? We're making it.
We're making what?
We're making we're making the future. People like you, with your consciousness, are
We
making the
are,
future.
right. It works like this. The body will, so we have the Akashic records. All our past lives, our present life, and our future life are already written out for us to get this experience. We have the choice, a conscious choice, to jump off of this previous life. I mean, sorry, let me rephrase. We have the choice to skip a grade. So in other words, the body, the cognitive dissonance, is totally related to our materialistic journey to stay on that path. There's several layers of cognitive dissonance. People figure out, oh, I learned this, I know the truth now, I'm done. Well, no, there's many, many more. And this is one of them that I'm telling you. The truth is, when you when you follow somebody who's telling you a truth, and if you see that and you reject what somebody is saying without at least listening, that is your Akashic record making you stay on that path that has a karmic journey. If you want to skip a grade just like in school, because everything is analogous to what we've been through. So you can jump a rung on the ladder of the snakes and ladders game, and you can also fall back based on your choice. So that's the thing that we can learn really quickly. And this test is upon us. It's going to happen from now till February 1st, 2024. In there is a perfectly aligned 40 months, which we are working on trying to resolve 100%. Which
Can I
40
ask you
is it?
something very, very, very
Sure.
quickly? Me and Amy came through past the document. I forget which hospital it is right now. It's an American hospital. They've got this whole system set up where they're testing something out. It's not a real thing. It's called SPA. That's the next one. And it says 24-25. We'll have SPA, which is another version of this. Just saying, by the way. Just thought that was really
Yeah,
quite incredible. What does
well,
that mean
yeah,
then? Like,
there's a whole bunch of alignments that are coming, including so many people are asking me what's happening on December 21st. It's actually December 22nd. So we have some of that in our last video. All these alignments are to light us up, to test our heart, as light as a feather. We're going to get what we want. So we're going to get the images that we portray. We are gods. We're yin yangs. God is the glyph of yin yang. It's the Godhead that we're the image of. So we have the choice to create. So we can create beauty in our life and move forward, skip grades, or we can decide to stay on our path with cognitive dissonance and say, that's just a bunch of malarkey. But the tests are going to get harder because everybody will be woken up to some degree. When I say woken up, I mean filled with love, where that's all you want is to feel love, see love, be with love, and the connections with animals and all those things that are happening that we sense and feel every day of our life is invigorating. There's no way we ever want to go anywhere but forward with that path because we can feel that love. So the mama is home. The story of the mother coming back to save her child is every one of us. The mother's coming back to save us, but know that she wants us to clean up our act. What have we done for the last 2,000 years in this sandbox together? It's very simple. When you want to cleanse yourself and you have an image of something that you've done, which will carry over to you into your next life, you need to cleanse that. This is the true confession, not the way they do it in a church. No. For example, when I was a busboy at 19 years old, going to university, had to make some money, right? I was a busboy. I was driving my Duster down, 70 Duster down a one-way street, and traffic got bad, and somebody did something that I had to get out of my car, go in my trunk, and grab a bat. It's one of those little tiny skinny bats that you give out at a ballpark. The rest is where I changed the vision. I go over to that car, I knock on the window, he rolls the window down. I said, do you mind if I give this bat to your son? I said, I got this at a Tiger opener, and I've had this for about, 4 or 5 years. Do you mind if I give this back to your son? That's the way I replayed it. So I'm not telling you what used to happen, which I'm now going to not allow come back into my head. I'm replaying that event over and over in my mind when it tries to come in on how I would have played it. That's called manifesting, erasing. It's like erasing a hard drive. You got to do it with images and with love. That's the true definition of confessing. Not going there and repeating over and over again the not good part of it. You have to repeat it in the good part. This is the test. This is the Armageddon. This is the cognitive dissonance. If people don't want to believe in that, then you come back. We're infinite. It's okay. I still love everybody, and everybody still loves you. The whole thing is, when do we want to start saying, wow, this is really happening? It's in the stars. It's undeniably in the stars. It's happening around the world. We said it before. I know if you've got same listeners, but I don't want to be redundant. But we've gone back and looked at all the different pandemics and alignments. We've done so many charts now, and we do at least 2, 3 a week for people for free, where they say, can you find this event? And there it is. People need to see their triggers. Not everybody wants to dive right in and learn what we've learned, but as long as you know that everything happens for a reason and it's in your chart, that your lives are predetermined with the things that you're going to do to see if you choose wisely. That's why we get tempted. That's why we get tested. That's why we get challenged. So when I keep saying over and over, just think positive and only, that's why we only want to make positive videos now. I've gone through my Facebook looking for old posts. I'm deleting them. I'm erasing them. And I'm going to put only the ones about the truth that it's happening upon us right now. Because we are in the age of Aquarius, and I have some slides to show on that.
Yeah, sure. Go for the slides, Claudio.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen. Do you have to give me sharing permission, Karen?
No, you just go up to the little buttons at the top.
Oh,
and
yeah. I just haven't used
It's
this for a
different.
while.
It's different from the live ones.
Right.
I'm just eating again. I was eating when I'm doing my videos or on Hangouts. Oh, there we go.
That's all good. All righty. So now we're going to go over to here. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, we can. I'll put the picture on screen. There. There you go, Claudio.
Okay, so one of the things that we're doing, because it's very difficult, sorry, let me rephrase that, sorry. It's not easy to teach astrology. So what we're doing is we're coming up with a way, and we've got the whole thing laid out on the method that we want to teach astrology. But the premise is going to be, you have 12 houses that you visit every day. These 12 houses pass by your head every day, whether you're awake or you're sleeping. In these 12 houses are people that live there, the different luminaries.
Oh, I just had a thought. How many apostles were there?
12.
There you go. 12 houses, 12 apostles.
Yeah, of course. Yes, it's wide. It's getting known more and more. The Da Vinci of the Last Supper is just a zodiac. The Bible's the zodiac. Misinterpret it.
I think what it is one thing, Claudio, what they've done is, you know how they've done things? They've made astrology and all these things. They're the bad, terrible things, when actually they're the good things. So to anybody that's listening in and thinks astrology is a load of rubbish, it isn't. It's really good. And the 12 houses are in different, my recollection, because I did a bit. It takes years to learn astrology.
Well, we're trying to take that out so you can learn it in a month.
But basically, the 12 houses are different parts of you. So it starts off with your rising sign in sign 1, and it goes through these other signs. There's one's in relationship, there's your sex life, there's all sorts of different houses. And each one of those houses is in a different star sign.
That's one way of putting it. But so what we're going to do is what we're trying to do, the premise of showing people that as this house transits you.
What I wanted to say was they're in different houses. And so basically you're part of all the astrology, all of it. Your mind will think this way, like maybe an Aquarius. Your rising sign, which is how you project yourself to the world, might be in another sign. So you're part of all the star signs, not just one. That's my point.
Correct. No, you're bang on. But I'm just trying to get this message across of how we're going to lay this out. So as you're thinking that this house goes by, you're actually having a visit. So right now, with the house that's over your head, you're being visited. So in that house, there's going to be particular personalities. For example, Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Now, when that house visits you, it depends what's in your natal chart. If your natal chart has Jupiter in there in Sagittarius, and there's alignments, it means you got to connect, you got a direct connection. So all you got to do is think of Jupiter as a woman, a man, whatever you want, that needs to talk with you. So we get to know our neighbors, our neighborhood, and we're going to show you that there's another neighborhood that's in the sky that is housed by entities that are light that want to talk with you. The more you talk with them, the more they provide for you. So these houses will give you lessons. These houses will give you gifts. These houses will help you with moving. These houses will help you find your parking spot. These houses will do all that for you if you're paying attention. But if you want to live in the neighborhood of the materialistic world only, then you're telling them, well, I guess you want to do it on your own and you want to keep coming back until you've gone through all your lessons. The not easy way. But there's a really easy way. So we're just trying to say, just get to know the players. You need to learn 12 houses in your neighborhood. You probably know that in your neighborhood already, who lives in 12 houses. We did when we were kids. Hell, we knew how much more. We knew at least 2 to 3 people in each house. Well, that's all you need to learn. Same thing, 12 houses, 2 to 3 people. And each one of those houses that you went to when you were a kid, there was a personality, right? Well, same thing. These ones have a personality. They've also given you heck when they should have. They will protect you when they needed to, or they put a test upon you and you thought they were being not nice. But in actuality, it was a test that you had to receive anyway. But the biggest test of all was to understand that those lessons, houses in your community with Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so living in those houses, it's the same thing. It's up in the sky. And these are the ones that want to bring you to one love. So we're going to be using that method to teach people. We're going to have it so that, maybe a 10 to 12-year-old will be able to understand it as well, because we're using really nice images in a good way. Not so much cartoonish, but want to be towards there. So that's one of the things we're working on to help people to understand at least who the neighbors are that are in the sky every day. Those aren't just some pretty stars that we're not supposed to be looking at. We're supposed to be looking at them. And if you don't want to know exactly what their names are, it's okay too. Just look up in the sky, ask for guidance. Tell them you want one love. Tell them you want your images. Tell them you want to confess and change all the images that you've done in your life to those of love. And when you paint that, watch what happens. Hawks fly right in front of my face when we talk deep with Dave Carlson from Toronto. So many things happen when we talk. That hawk is the eye of Horus. So that's what we're doing as far as astrology. And now we're going to jump into the age of Aquarius. The age of Aquarius, aka John the Baptist, right? This is what we're upon. So many people think we're upon this, but yet you ask astronomers, they'll tell you a huge difference. So these next slides are busy, but that's just our research. I'm not going to go into them, but I'm just going to mouth over them. So for example, the estimates of age of Aquarius already happened in 1447, or it could not happen until 3597. This beautiful astronomy brother, okay, is there's his link if you want to go check him out. It is in French, but if you type it in Google Translate, it'll convert it for you. I've already made communications with him. He's proven that Age of Aquarius, the exact time it started was March 20th, 2020. Makes perfect sense what's going on around the world. So we're being baptized. This is the story of baptismal. What's the baptismal thing I tell you about? To purge you of your sins. So that part is upon us right now. And I've just explained how you confess. So it's really easy. All you got to do is replay it and you erase your memory in the ether, in heavens, on this earth, whatever you want to call it, before we get to ascend back to spirit. So this brother has done a great job of proving it. He's shown how, in this here, you can see, I'm going to come over here on the dendra. This is Pisces, right? Because we go from age of Pisces into age of Aquarius. He shows on this slide right here, there's Pisces. This was drawn by Bayer, okay? Bayer, you know, the one that sells us pills? Well, when you look at it, he drew it wrong. This is the way Pisces really looks, but he drew it like this. So now you can see the error of age of Aquarius. It's shifted. So,
Claudio, we're not seeing the pictures. We've just got the main picture, the welcome to astrology. We don't see anymore.
okay, so you didn't see age of Aquarius. Okay, I'll tell you when I hit next slide.
No, sorry. We've had this problem before, haven't we?
Yeah, Zoom is so much better because I'll try share screen again. Wow. Can you see it now?
I see
Age of
me.
Aquarius.
Oh, there you go. Yes, we've got it now. We've got it.
You see Age of Aquarius?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's John the Baptist I just talked about. Do you see the next slide?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so March 2020th, this guy is an astronomer. He's not an astrologer. He doesn't look into the things that we look into, but he's an astronomer. And he's proven, okay, that it's March 2020. So I move to the next slide. Do you see it?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so in the green line here, this is what Bayer did. So they took what the Egyptians did, which are 100% accurate, okay? And he's redrew the constellations. So he has errors in every one of his constellations that everybody does astrology with, hence why you can't predict the stock market. You can't predict medical astrology. You can't do any of that. This error here says we're not, it's either I can't, it's coming. So anyway, the error here represents why we can't understand where the age of Aquarius is. On top of that, the Vatican removed 10 days, 4 days were given back. They keep aligning everything for the seasons. That's where the tropical comes into play, right? And disregard precession. So when you disregard precession, you'll never know when these cleanses, when these beautiful biblical events happen. That's why Nostradamus and all those beautiful people were able to predict this happening, because they know. But the calendar has been changed so many times, hard to figure it out. So that's why we've been working very hard at showing all the different calendar. There's so many different variations of people saying what happens with the calendar. This guy has nailed it. So I'm just showing you some of his work. He shows the whole thing, right? And how he does it. These are in white is our notes. Like I said, we're making a video on it. And again, it's just another slide of some of the work that he's been doing. So, you know, shifting it, moving it, showing all the different dates that have happened so we can get to the end result. So the end result is we are in the age of Aquarius and it happened March 20th, 2020. So I created this one. He created this one. So we use the Dendra Egypt Hathor Temple. That's what this is, because the Dendra Zodiac in Hathor Temple is the location where you need to measure from. That's like the footprint, the Gaia, the beginning of time, the reset of the clock. So when you go back to here, you type in the March 20th, 2020. Well, I pulled this up. Oh, I don't know if you guys remember, we did the Annapurna, right? Here's the Annapurna. All the luminaries were on one side, the shape of the umbrella, which is really the peacock, which is Juno down here. You do see this Annapurna slide, Karen?
Yep, I do.
Okay, so note this Lilith. In the next video we're going to be making, you'll be hearing about Lilith, because she was the last one to go into. Lilith represents Medusa. You know, the one with the snakes on her head, turns people to stone. So that just means the people that aren't going to get it, well, that's why she's got all those snakes on her head, because she's removing the materialistic snake from your body, and hence you come back, reincarnate, whatever you want to call it. So all we got to do is just be loving, and then we're good to go. So this Annapurna happened March 20th, which he's saying is the day of Aquarius, which makes totally sense with what happened in the sky. Now you look, the moon was in the 7th house, Jupiter aligned with Mars, and in the Annapurna. So you know the song, right? Age of Aquarius, the song, when the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars. Peace will guide the planet, love will steer the stars. Right, that's what's upon us. So we have this enormous amount of love coming our way if we open up to it. So this is the Armageddon. Do you want to stick with the materialistic thoughts that everybody's doing to each other, controlling ourselves? Because that's what we're doing. We're all doing it. It's not just they, because we have people down the street from us in every city that behave the exact same way. So they gain your energy when they do that. Don't let it happen. Only stick around positive people, positive images, positive thoughts of love. Moving on to the next slide. Do you see it? Mother Sun rises in the east.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize you're talking to me. Yeah, we can see that.
Okay, so what's going to happen next upon us, for those who've seen before will know, but the mother and the sun, so Eris, the Madonna, Mictacawatl, Isis, whatever you want to call her, and the sun in 2020, right at Easter, this is the true Easter. In 2022, she'll be at rising in our heads in 0 Aries in the east. So 2022, in April, the mother and the sun rise in the east. So that means the Christmas before that is a true Christmas story, and this is the true Easter. This is the Phoenix rising. That's why America shows this, the Phoenix rising coming out. In the Dendra Zodiac, you see the Phoenix rising. Not sure if you can see that, but right here is the Phoenix rising, right before the east. So this is the Easter of all Easters that's coming upon us. And then the mother stays in her head in Aries on February 1st, 2024. Every year, she comes back and stays longer in our head to give us more love. But note that she's going to give you what you want, because it's a story of Christmas. What you think you will get. So if you're going to think you want love, then you're on the right path. So that's all you got to do. Just stay there. This is the beautiful message that's upon us. It's being missed. But everybody's being tested to start looking for answers. We've had quite a few people stumble across our videos and going, I looked up at the sky and I said, I want some answers. Next thing you know, Karen's video pops up. They go watch Karen's video, then they come and start watching some of our clips. Leave a note saying, thank you very much. They explain that story in their comment and saying, really appreciate it. There's so much to look forward to, something beautiful to hang on to in these current days. Wow, it's awesome. But it's not just a story, it is the story. It is the story that we grew up with. It's the story of Santa Claus. It's the story of the underworld. It's the story of the Wizard of Oz. It's the same story. but it's really happening now. Those were the breadcrumbs left for us so we can remember that this is what's upon us. If you haven't seen this, the Celestine Prophecy, if you haven't, the movie is too short. You can watch it if you want. The book, obviously it's a book, but this, for free, you can download the Celestine Prophecy audio files. This is going to show you, right, but this is going to show you the feeling that you should be having. If you're not having it, then you need to cleanse yourself to be more loving. Because Kathy and I are living these experiences now, where everything is happening in a timely manner. Everything seems like a coincidence. It's not. All the people around us that we're hanging with are getting the same experiences, not just numbers, songs, animal encounters, loving things. They're always constantly asking, what does this mean? What does that mean? I saw this animal.
We've got a guest, Claudio. We've got someone with us. It's James.
Oh, awesome.
Hi.
Hi, James.
Hi. How amazing. How amazing you just mentioned numbers, because I've just made a video going through the numbers.
Awesome. So I'll just finish this and then we'll talk.
Yes,
Can I just finish this? It's real quick, couple of minutes, and then we'll talk.
Sorry.
Yeah. So these audio files these audio files.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Are exactly what you're to experience. Throw the drama away that they put in there. Okay, there's some drama in there. Just throw that part away because the rest is for real. And just a little note down here in the bottom, they'll give you because obviously the computer files got mixed up with numbering system. So this is the order you have to listen to them to. This is going to be an amazing enlightenment for you. If you're not feeling this yet, then you got some work to do. If you're feeling these, if you're actually having all these encounters, then you're on the right path. So the path is there. There's a good path waiting for you. It's there. Just be loving and choose what you pick to get into your mind. Choose the words and the vibrations you choose to let out of you. When you speak, the whole universe, everything in it, hears it, records it, and knows it until you erase it. And that's, again, part of the confession. So I'll end that with that. How you doing, James? Hello? Oh, you're muted, James.
Sorry, I'd muted off there.
How you doing?
Sorry, I'd muted myself. Hi, Claudio. Excellent. The only way I can describe it, I'll get a word. And you know those old railway terminuses where you had the old mechanical displays that would list all the stations, they'd flip over, they're called split flat boards. Well, I get one word or something, and then with like 20 minutes a video just comes. It's everything just all just falls into place. It's like cogs. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So many beautiful things are happening.
I think you see this and know this. I mean, like you mentioned when we spoke last time with Karen, you said about the lizards, that it's a sign. It's a sign during the day to pay attention to. It's look up the spiritual meaning of the animal. They're all there for us. Everything shown to us.
Yep. Spirit-animals.com is. It works for me. I mean, anything could work for you, but it's because it's got this little one-liner box on it that is so simple to read.
Yeah. Well, the trouble is most people are watching the reel-to-reel news, not the real news. The pathetic pathé news of today. It's laughable, really. Like I just said, I don't change the clock. I'll stick with best soul time, BST. Because if I don't change my clock, I've got my daylight saving. I'm saved it for myself because I don't get up to 11, or 10 o'clock.
That's right. That's right. We get up when the sun rises and start falling asleep when the sun sets.
I'm not being subservient to that. I'll have the daylight. Appreciate it later on.
Yep. Hey, Karen, does James sound choppy to you?
Yeah,
Karen?
I'll have the daylight later on. I've got that extra hour. Everybody else is scrabbing around in that silly debt system. It's like, I'm not playing that game.
James, you're very choppy. I'm not sure if it's just
right.
our connection or.
Yeah, I thought that sometimes it's my phone. James, take your picture off. I thought that was my phone. Half the time it's choppy on my phone, but it isn't on the computer. If he just takes his camera off, his broadband will get better. Hey.
That'll help you out. Yeah, your voice was very choppy, James.
That should be better. Well, would you believe I'm on solid state Ethernet cable?
Oh no!
Hopefully, I'm on Ethernet cable rather than Wi-Fi, so it shouldn't be any problem. But you know what it's like with this system.
You sound better
they give
now.
and take away. Good. It's
awesome.
They give with one hand and take away with the other. I mean, all this testing they keep talking about at the moment. Yeah, there is a test. I mean, it's an Old Testament and a New Testament is a test on the mind. It's a test on resolve, on whether you're going to fall for all the fear or if you're going to stand in your own power.
That's right. Be brave all the time, man. Be brave.
It's like if anybody says to me about filling in forms, I'll say, well, I've already filled one form. I'm within this form. Because none of the boxes I can fit. They're going to say, "Are you a UK citizen?" And I'm going to say, "No, I'm a living man of the United States of unconditional love." But they won't like that.
Yeah, it's all good. The thing is that no one is exempt. The only people that will have not good experiences are the ones who choose not to start following one love. Those are the ones that are going to keep getting their karmic attachments coming to them. So the more you invite it, the more you talk about it, the more you're letting it in, the more you will be challenged. We're getting scenarios where nothing but beauty comes out. That's what we want. So if you want every day you go and you can walk in freedom, knowing that you have spirit behind your back, 100 million%, then that's what you'll get.
Yes, definitely.
Moses parts the water. You are the Moses that can part your own muddy waters. You know this, James. We're just talking together the same thing. I get it.
Yeah.
So 100%. That's why I choose only positive words, positive vibes, positive people, right? And the benefits are amplifying like crazy, and they're going to keep amplifying. So the Celestine prophecy is something that everybody go get that audiobook, start listening to it, because this is what happens. And now when you put yourself in those shoes of the happening, not the drama part, just throw the drama part away. I would love to redo that whole thing without the drama. Just stay there, because it is absolutely amazing the connections that people have that are happening. Every time you speak with somebody, you get to hear what they're saying, and there's something subliminal in there for you.
Sorry, I just muted because otherwise there'd be a lot of background noise.
What, you're talking to somebody else, are you?
That's James's mum.
Hi, James' mom.
Oh, it's gone again. She'd say hello if she was hearing. Yeah, it is. It is being recorded now.
I'm exhausted. All I've done is turn my head in, when I'm tired.
Tell your mum we heard her loud and clear, James. We heard her loud and clear.
They heard you loud and clear. I'm going to mute myself again. I'm going to mute myself in a minute because I've got the kettle boiling, so otherwise that's going to sound awful. So carry on, and I'll be back in a minute.
Okay, go, carry forward, Claudio.
That's about all I have. So if there's any other discussions anybody wants to have, positive discussions, things that we can move forward with so that we can keep
Claudio,
gaining and
ask you, like, obviously, it does worry me what they're doing in that government stuff. So what do you say to someone who's completely stuck that way, that's going, oh, I'm voting Trump or Biden and can't see any of this? What do you suggest? Like, how do they get into
here's
this?
the funny part, Karen.
This is more spiritual, isn't it?
Right, here's the funny part. Nobody will ask us that. Law of attraction, they won't be anywhere near us. You get it? The people that are thinking that way will be together. The people who are towards one love will be together. The one love side is growing exponentially, as you can see it all over Facebook and YouTube. It's invigorating to watch everybody get this same experience. It's happening, it's on fire. So do yourself a favor, drop all the other stuff and jump in, the water's warm.
Well,
so usually it ends up being like this. Questions will be not direct like that. They'll just say, I can't think of an example at the top, but it'll be something like, so what do you think's going to happen with the charade? And it's embarrassing for the whole world to see what's going on. And I just say to them, they just picked a couple of unknowing, how can I put this in a nice way? Those unknowing brothers of what the reality is about to come down upon them. They pick those guys are scapegoats. Neither one of them want the job. They're friends. They're all friends. It's an illusion of choice. But you got to remember that you're going to continuously get a false idol put in front of you for the next 3 years. But then that goes away. Many people are saying this is the last time we're going to see a president of a country, because they're supposed to represent the people. Everybody idolizes them. It's not the way it's supposed to be. So the answer to their question is, times are changing. Things have happened that weren't supposed to happen. We do all the work in the world. Nothing's going to happen to the world but beauty. We do all the labor, too much labor to self-sustain. We're building roads to food that's not near us. We could be living within the food. So our labor will be reduced in half. There won't be any need for food, shelter, and clothing, and live a really good, non-materialistic life where we just need our necessities and love and camaraderie and fun. So we already do all the labor. There's just somebody taking a cut. And then we all pretend that they're controlling us. Well, they're not. We're allowing them to. Each and every one of us individually, as a Jesus, as a Christ within, have the choice now to jump out sooner than later. So I probably wouldn't go that deep with that person, but it's going to be along that line with that message, depending on where they're at with jumping in with spirit. But that conversation of spirit is not easy for some people, but everybody's starting to see things. So we've had many people start with unknowing whatsoever, and then just start seeing. When we're with people and hang out with them, new friends, all of a sudden, it's like an induction. It's like they're being induced. They start seeing signs. They witness songs coming on. They witness animals, stars, moon locations. They start to see them more. That's what's happening. So as we're being vibrated with good light, they get to feel that. But know that if you're already there, Spirit will only put those destined to be with you while you skip your grades. So my intent is, yeah, I want to skip some grades. I want to skip some grades. 100% want to skip some grades.
Mind you, I have to say though, we can't all do what you and James do. You and James are.
But that means you're submitted to it, Karen. You're
some
submitting
people
to
like
it.
listening to you two and then getting it, but you two get it and share it.
Well, that's okay. Nobody has to go out and be a prophet or be speakers like we are. That's okay.
But we
But
need
as long
people
as
like you anyway.
uh, we need each other. We
Yeah.
need each other.
What were
Well,
you
this
going to
is,
say, James?
well, I mean, one of the best analogies, again, it just shows the backwardness of this reality. You've got a character called Forrest Gump who said life is like a box of chocolates. Well, it is. That's your selection to choose from. You can either have some sickly orange cream or you can have some chewed up old walnut. You take your pick which one you want, but it's not going to do you any good. And while you're looking at, like Claudio said, while you're looking at false idols and giving them attention, where the attention goes, the energy flows. It's just cut off from it. And it's like, so what? Big deal. It's all theatre. I mean, it strikes me if you've got a president and a dedicated aircraft and all the security, how much does that cost? And who's paying for that? Who's having the joke on whose expense with all this? The more we subscribe to that, the more ridiculous the whole thing is. It's the illusory world of Caesar. I feel so much better. I spend a lot of the day in thought or listening to audio books, the new thought writers, going within myself, discovering myself. And from that, you can't, how can you help anybody unless you've got yourself right? You've got to fix yourself first. You can't help anybody because you can't fix anybody else. They have to want the help. And it's that saying that the students will come to the teacher when the time's right. I've got to the stage, I haven't got any material desires or ambitions. I've got a sole purpose now, and this is it. It's just to try and spread this message. I had to laugh. There's the latest scientific controversial theory is the mind is powered by electromagnetics. Well, I've not even looked at the article because if you've got an understanding of the vowel shift between the E and the A, the I am has become IEM. So it's the electromagnetic of the heart and the mind. This reality is all about, if you can't see it, it doesn't exist. But you look in the mirror, you'll see a reflection of everything that looks just as real, but it's not physical. It's still there, and there's another world from behind that mirror. It's just whether you want to be externally controlled in a script and, oh, you can't go there, you've got to wear this, you've got to do that, you can't do that because somebody told me. Well, who's your government? Are you governing your own mind? I mean, this is what the firmament, the testament, the ment is mind. The clues are given to us in so many ways. I just seem to see it in words and letters. But I mean, we come out head down. That's the birth in the waters below. You're a 6. If you look at a fetus of a mammal, reptile, bird, or a fish, they all resemble a number 6. It's like a shorthand illustration of a fetus. Well, we need to flip ourselves over so the head is at the top, the crown. That's the number 9. That's the number associated with completion as well. So it's all there to be seen. It's just got to think out the box. But thinking out the box is going within the box as well, because it's duality. You've got to go inside yourself. The answers are all there. It's just sometimes to just say to someone, go within, they're not going to have a clue what we're saying. You've got to give it a little bit more. But as much with anything, if you're talking, don't let the other people do the talking. See what's triggering them, what's their concerns. Is it about paying a mortgage or wearing the masks or whatever? And then listen to what they're talking about and then come back with, well, yeah, I'm really confused about this. The CDC is saying that, something else is saying that, and just leave it like that, because it's given to you in scripture as well. Sinners do not know they're sinners until the sin has been pointed out to them. In many ways, it can be a cruel thing to actually drop somebody in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean in the middle of the night, because that's basically what you're doing with people. You're taking away their reality and saying this is all an illusion. But unless you're going to give them something to replace it, they're going to be frightened and they're going to recoil in horror. They don't want to face the eye of horrors, the eye of Horus. So until they're ready to do that, they're not going to see it.
Right. That's why I oh, got a big echo.
I don't know what that is. Oh, that's James. Carry on.
That's Google Hangouts. That's why, James, like you, I like to just call it one love, like you call it a thought current. If everybody knows they got to replace everything just with your heart as light as a feather, and that's the test that's upon us right now. And this Christmas and next Christmas are going to be not easy for some people that aren't getting it. They're going to be tested. But just know that that test is there and embrace it, learn from it, cleanse it, like we talked about a couple of times in this chat, and move on. And just know that one love replaces everything. The best feelings you ever had in your life are going to come back and be there 24/7. That's the end game. And to be able to go there is invigorating. It is absolutely invigorating. We're not there, but the path there feels great. It feels awesome. You'll notice you'll start talking with somebody and you'll start talking out of love on a cloudy day and the sun peeks out for a moment on you. Same thing at night. If it's a cloudy day, the moon will peek out, or a star, or Sirius. That's them telling you that you're there. That predetermined path that should you take it is already known that you might take it, and it then manifests itself. That is so invigorating to know that we are spirit, and it's just inviting us. And it only happens with one love. And when you have love and you're getting along great and you're smiling and people are having a fantastic time, that's all we really want. And that's pretty much as easy as it gets. It's really quite simple. We just got to learn how to get along in that sandbox, this big sandbox that we live in. This is the playground, man. I more than ever understand that we're just kids. We're just kids waiting to graduate from university, one verse, one love. I yield, as David says.
Thanks for that, Claudio. Carry on, James.
I was going to say that is exactly it. Universe, singing one song, the faculties of the mind. These words have all been handed over to mean something else. It's shown like whether moving the clock by an hour just to confuse people. It's all to create the chaos, to create the new order. But are we going to let somebody else create that new order, or are we going to create our own order, which means we have to be ordered create a new order in ourselves? This is fulfillment of scripture. We play every part. As I explained it the other day, these names, these personifications is the confusion. I mean, when you look up at Orion, do you see a human being or do you see stars? But you look for images on Google, you will see Orion and Aquarius depicted as humans, but are they human? So when you think about like Sarah and Abraham, it's cerebrum. Why Sarah could have a child at the age of 90, it's not a literal story. It's talking about the Saturn return, the third Saturn return. This is why Jesus starts his ministry at 30, because it's his first Saturn return. It's so many overlays on the scriptures, but that is the one thing that is the only law. That is the law and the promise. You will find that you are I am once more. Yeah, science has just decided, or the new discovery is that the power of the mind is electromagnetic. Well, that's EM. Well, there's your vowel shift from AM. This is why we say we are living in England, but we spell it with an E. And look at the way you spell I, EYE. It's all hidden in the words. But the answers are really, really simple. And I feel renewed. I mean, I've got a wonderful blessing. I've got chronic fatigue syndrome. I don't mention it very much. You feel like you're 80 sometimes, and you feel like you've got one of those deep sea divers suits on, those really antique ones with the lead boots. But it's telling me to be still and go within myself. It's wonderful. I love it because I'm inherently lazy anyway. So it's great fun. Anyway, I shall yield as well now.
Thanks, James. You're putting a greenhouse up at the moment, aren't you?
That's sort of ground to halt because we've had showers, and I think it's one of those old Anderson shelter bases. So I'm gonna have to level the ground off first, but it's just too wet to do anything at the moment. But that's
And
play anyway.
just to explain, James, I've got the video. I'm just gonna, because I mean, Claudio's probably muted. It's just as well, but I've been putting a couple of videos out about what they're trying to do to us, the governments. But I've got a video of yours. I'm waiting to put out a little bit later, and you're going through a song, aren't you?
Oh yeah, the which one was it? Oh, hang on. Oh, the sound of. I was asked to give a breakdown on the sound of silence. Well, if you ever listen to the lectures of Neville Goddard, he was around from the 50s until 1972, and basically saying he is a living Christ, which he was and still is. I can feel him. He's been a huge influence on me, and he gives a totally new perspective on the scriptures, what they really mean about the human psyche, basically. And he gives evidence of it with the testimonies from himself and other people who've done it. I'll give you one example. He'd never got American citizenship. He was born in Barbados. He came from a family, I think he had something like 9 brothers and 1 sister. They weren't particularly wealthy. They were at the bottom end of the scale, but his brother, every day for I think something like 12 years, he would look up at this building and see J.N. Goddard and Sons. On the day of the auction, this cousin that they had never had anything to do with said, I'll put the money up for you. That J.N. Goddard and Sons is still going. It's how the Rockefellers made all their money. It's thought manifestation. You can stand in front of the mirror and keep passing a £10 note. If the feeling is in the secret. But this is also one of the things I don't like. There's a lot of channels that are using this information as a get rich quick, which is not the right way to do it. It's supposed to be about benevolence and helping each other. And why is it financial? That's material. That's not what this is about at all. It's about spiritual growth. Basically, like Claudio said, we're children. We are children of God. And it says you will die as princes in Psalm 82. The physical vessel will die. You won't die. You are an eternal soul. That is the biggest fear and the biggest thing that people have tried to do everything to go against, the inevitable thing you cannot escape in this innate, natural. That's what innate is. It's like a loop, like the number 8. It just keeps going round and round and round. You go through a cycle of birth, growth, harvesting, and then death, and then in a continuous cycle. Everything in this realm does. But these are only soul carrying vessels. We are eternal. We are part of the Creator. We've just got to find out who we are. That's our sole purpose.
Yeah, if I may just. Sorry, just going to say I quite like the way that James said, "Well, it's up to you. It's up to you."
Yeah, exactly. So if I may quote Ken Wheeler, what he says is that the soul is like the signal in a radio. If you break the radio, is the signal gone? No. Radio waves are light. They're just low frequency light. So this manifested body is by all those pretty lights we see in the sky. When we were born, that was our footprint. And as they keep spinning around us, that's our journey. It makes us turn here, move here, do this, do that, but with some choice. We always have a choice to move on that rung, on that ladder, on the snakes and ladders. So, yeah, well said, brother.
Definitely.
This soul does not quit. We are infinite. And once you know that, then you can only be brave. That's why they removed reincarnation from the Bible.
Yep.
But that was, the they is also spirit, because they're all actors too. Everybody here has got their part in their Akashic records. So when you realize every brother and sister that you've ever met and currently see, even the false idols, they're going to wake up out of this too and go, uh-oh, what did I do? I wasn't supposed to make all these choices. So they've got time. I send them love, send everybody love, because they're your brother and sister. You don't know what you were in your past lives and how good you were. We can bet we've all been down a path that wasn't good. So if your life is something what it is today, it's all based on karmic attachments. But you can be forgiven, right? You can cleanse those sins, erase them from your hard drive with good images. I yield.
This is exactly it. The word scion, which is spirit, eye, on. Scion means project. It's what we project out. What we're getting, we're absorbing through the unconscious mind, is what is being shown on the screens, which is fear-based, the opposite. But we need to reverse it. We reflect back, and we project out what we create from our mind, what we want in this world. And the easiest guide with this is whatever you think, pick the highest thought. It's always the right one. You write your own life sentence, unless you let somebody else write the script for you. But you can write a life sentence and think of that. That can be a prison sentence, and you can keep writing life sentences, and you just keep coming round and round and round in this reality. Because I mean, think of it in, you got a brand new Ferrari sports car, top of the range. You've had it chipped. It'll do 250 miles an hour or whatever. You're going to give those keys to a child, a 10-year-old, and say, here, go take it for a spin. So we are in the image of the creator. We do the same things. And one of the best observations is look at children. They don't have fear. They're not worried about putting a coat on. They don't feel the cold. They're so engrossed in play. With action figures and things, their imagination brings that action figure to life. They become that action figure in their mind. It's what the creator has done. He has become man, or well, it's not even a he. That's something in this realm, the different sexes. But it's a binary world. The first shipbuilder, Noah, Knower, is also Janus, the two-faced god. It is all the creator. There is nothing made that was not first made. So the bad, as we perceive it, is not bad. It's just doing things from an opposite perspective, showing you the mirror version. So when you got all these symbols of wearing a mask, that's telling you to speak out, or not necessarily speak out, but just be your own government. Be true to yourself. Don't do something, oh, what will people think of me if I do that, or if I don't do that, or I can't go out wearing that. That's all judgment. Be happy, be yourself. That is the message, isn't it, really?
Agreed 100%.
So you two agree quite a lot anyway, don't you? On your outlook on things, you two.
Well, we are one, basically. We know this. We're
Yep.
alone is all one. This is the thing. We're always. It's this programming thing. You've got to be with somebody else to be happy. Well, can't you be happy in yourself? Can't you just sit with a tree and just be contented? I mean, I love this life. Every day is a blessing. It's wonderful. Every moment is wonderful because the weight, I'm not playing the part of Atlas. I'm not carrying the weight of the world on my shoulder. I've got my own world, and I can radiate out from that. I've got my own internal sun. I've got the universe within inside me, which every one of us has if they find it. This is where the free will comes in. There's no wrong or right. So you could, some people are going to be shocked at this next bit. You could be a child molester, serial child molester. That's your experience in this lifetime. And likewise, that soul that is the victim, that's the experience. God wants to experience everything. So it might not make sense from our perspective when we see it as a 3D perspective, but when you change your mindset, your state of mind, the one to be in, and this is why I can't fill in any other forms, because if it says nationality, what do I put down? I'm in the United States of love, unconditional love. There's no boundary to that.
Well, let's just hope there are some nice awake people. Oh dear, what's that? James. Nice awake people, because, you know, on the other side, I'm a little bit different to Claudio. I've been putting out videos about narcissism because so many people are narcissistic. You know, they don't fall into this category where you guys are. You guys are spiritual and open. These other people aren't. They're only concentrating on themselves. So yeah, there's two different types of people.
They're at a different level. The thing to remember with a narcissist, there's two ways of creating them. One is at childbirth. There's a nerve that runs between the brain and the heart. If the head is pulled, it can be snapped, so they lose empathy. The other route is through childhood trauma. So they are innocent in a way.
And I think the television, I think people have been made into narcissists because of the television.
Well, everything.
Programming.
Everything, education. I mean, telling you when you can go to the toilet, when you can eat. An interesting study that's been done on the government is saying about homeschooling should be 4 hours, to which the defence was, well, homeschooling just is 24/7. They don't stop learning just because they're not in a formal sort of classroom situation when they're in the home. But the actual school education system, when you break it down, you take off the 5 minutes registration and this and that, actually comes down to they're only learning for 1 hour and 53 minutes per week out of a 6.5 hour day. I know that sounds incredible, but if you see the breakdown of it, of the last day of term, they're not going to be concentrating. The first 10 minutes after they've come in from playing outside on the lunch breaks, their minds are not adjusted back into the learning or the programming mindset. They've been out there playing. They've been allowed to be children again and use their imagination and play games in the playground. But gradually that is stamped out of everybody. And this is our road back to find that inner child again as much as anything else.
Yeah, filled up without television, without all those things that program you. You know,
Well,
like more spiritual.
Well, the thing is to ask yourself, who's in control? Who is making? Is someone holding a gun to your head and saying you will watch that television, or are you doing it from choice?
No, but don't you find, James, that a lot of people, they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk.
Well,
so they're able to tell you about it, but they don't live it themselves.
Well, that comes with time. Just watch what people think and say, and then if their actions don't back up the other two, then that saying, that biblical saying, you can tell a man by the fruits of his seed. It's
Well, I'm finding it out quite a lot lately, that people talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. They don't live by what they say.
The way to look at it is take it as it's a guidance. It's like, well, you don't want to be like them. They're showing you how not to be. They're reflections. Everything outside of you is a reflection. it's the communication between the unconscious and the conscious mind. If you think of it like a union, this is where the divine masculine and feminine comes in. The divine masculine is like your conscious mind. The unconscious or the subconscious is the ever-loving wife. So they communicate through feeling. So if you feel fear, the ever-loving wife side will think, oh, they want more fear. So if somebody wants something, then you're going to get the feeling of want strengthened. So it's all about changing your state of mind. So people go from looking totally external to totally internal. Oh, pity me, why has this happened to me? To look at me. But they're not sitting in the middle of it, because you've got an inward projector and an outward projector. The screen is like a bubble all around us. It's not just a television. It depends what screen you want to look at, though, but that's the free will again.
Sorry for anybody that's watched. I just realised that I had the screen on the video on Claudio for his pictures, and it was stuck on there. But I've now changed it. Okay, so now we're free flowing. I'm really sorry about that. I just forgot because I'm on my phone and on the computer. So anyway, we're back free flowing now. But yes, thanks for that, James. What about you, Claudio?
Well, again, our behaviors attract what we get around us. So if you're finding yourself always meeting the same type of personality, you are attracting it. You're attracting it for whatever the reason
They're
is.
beautiful,
But
lovely beings, and then these ugly people come along, these vampires.
the pure fact that you're naming them that is that you're calling them that. You're calling them out.
Well,
You're
that's what
bringing
they
it to
are
you.
now. That's what I see them as when the vampires come
No,
along. Not everybody's like that.
but if you listen to what we
That's
were
why
saying,
we're
Karen,
friends, Claudio. That's why we're friends.
if you listen to what
Can I?
if you listen to what James said, the thing is, we attract whatever we want in our life. We are all one. We are all loving brothers and sisters on our karmic Akashic record path already predetermined. When you realize that they're on that path, the only thing you should do is call him a loving person. I hope he gets enough love for everybody so he can snap out of his snakes and ladders. So when we call people names, we're sending the vibration of that person to be that person. If we think about how that person is, and we always think that person, and we always think that personality of the person, Spirit's going to think you want that attracted into your life. So it goes the same way as you say, me and Jim sound a lot alike. There's a lot of me and James out there. A lot. Because we're finding one love. The way to do that, to get there, is to not use those words, nor judge a book by its cover, because they're here playing one of the parts that you've probably, and I and James and everybody else have already played, because we have to have that experience. It's time to come out now. So the sooner you realize that it was an experience and that everyone needs to be given love for the part that they're playing right now, the experience that they're getting, it's kind of like this. If we all had to have 2,000 years worth of life during the least amount of love in the dark ages called the Piscean age, we all had them already. People are sharing their past life experiences. So we know those are true. It's written in the stars that way. Everything that the Egyptians taught us and left for us tells us that. They left the breadcrumbs for us so that we can know how to get back to one love. So if you're being surrounded by not positive, it's because you are attracting it, or you're being tested on what you're going to do when you're faced with it. So you have to always be loving, and then you'll only attract the ones that are on the path going towards one love. We're not there yet, but we're going to practice it, We're going to preach it. We're going to show it. We're going to be the role models of it because it's invigorating. And when the whole world starts going your way, when a dragonfly points you to where to go to find an aloe plant because somebody had something that needed attention, I walk out my door. The dragonfly brought me to 3 houses. I knocked on 2 of them. The third one, there was a lady there watering her plants, and she was beautiful, and she gave me a piece of aloe. The dragonfly led me there. He'd turn into the house, come back out. I go in there. There's an aloe plant in their sidewalk. Because the way the layouts are in here, you got to walk up to their front door to see if they have one. So I don't want to go do that. So you are what you attract. And when you jump in, the whole universe jumps on your side. And anybody has the ability to do it.
Sorry about that. I was just saying it's the noise was happening then. Sorry. Carry on.
Yeah, somebody's drilling. I think they're doing some work in their garage. These
Oh, it's at your end, is it?
Yeah. So what it is what they've done is they've made these beautiful homes where people are living over top of each other. There's no parking. It's taxes per square foot. Okay, that's what they did. They maximized taxes per square foot, and people are just basically living all over top of each other. So that's why we want to go live in community somewhere where they're all beautiful people. I'm not saying they're not. They are beautiful people, but the living conditions that they put everybody in so that they can get their maximum tax dollars. Well, you know what? This is going to help drive us to be more loving because you get to see a lot of people because they're really close.
I wondered if anybody else has noticed this wonderful sign that we've been given. Now, Karen, you said that you forgot to change the screen, but did you? Because
yeah,
look,
because I was looking at my phone. I wasn't looking at the screen, but carry on.
but look at what happens. You've got a dark. If you stay focused on the screen, look, it's communicating with the unconscious that is taking all this in. You've got a black screen. You've got a white light in the middle, and it says, "Are you to me?"
Yeah, it does.
That is the creator at work, working through all of us in the magical ways. Don't ask me to explain the science behind it because it's beyond human capacity, I feel. But I think there's a sign right here with what's showing on the screen. Everybody that's looking at the screen is going to see that, and maybe because I mentioned it, they might even think, "Oh yeah." It's all about mastering your thoughts, your unconscious and your conscious thoughts. It's right down to, I hate that person. It's like straight away say, unpick that seed, because look at what shops do. They add verse to entrance you through the entrance. Well, the way to get out of it is cross it, you exit. So you unpluck that seed of hating anything and just picture in the mind how you want to see them. You can change other people. The magnetics that comes out from that feeling can change everybody else around you and the people that you attract towards you. That's how we change this reality. Sorry, I yield.
No, I was just going to say they're starting to drill now and I can barely hear you guys, but I did hear that. So just letting you know in case if I'm muted when I shouldn't be, it's because I'm trying to avoid you guys having to hear it.
That's okay, Claudio. Carry on, James. You carry on then, James.
Okay, well, I was going to say, well, look at what Claudio's just said, and there's thought, word, and deed in alignment. He's showing awareness and consideration of how that noise will come through. I mean, I'm thinking, is that central heating where it's kicked in behind me? I don't know if that's coming through. If it's too aggravating, let me know, and I'll go on mute again. But I mean, this thing about being awake and aware, it's all right just saying, okay, whatever you look at from the conspiracy side, it's telling you some things aren't the way they appear to be or the way we've been told. But how is that going to benefit me? It's actually awakening and awareness is how you're how you come across to others, how you interact with others, what sort of effect you're going to give to them. And then it's also, if somebody says something and you feel anger from it, that's the time to just stand back and think, now there's something inside me that has triggered that emotion. You're allowing that emotion to take control of you. It can then go, I mean, it can manifest as physical blows if it's left to go way out of control. And it's all the ego mind that got to defend its opinion, its position. But we're not the car. We're not the vessel. We're the soul. This is the soul carrier in this reality. So it's mastering the thoughts. Be the captain of your own vessel. Otherwise, you're going to head for an iceberg. And it's like, oh, I'm feeling anger. I'm feeling hatred. I'm feeling a negative feeling. I need to change that. I need to.
James, a lot of people don't even realise they're angry, though, do they? They don't even, because they haven't worked themselves out and don't know who they are and aren't responsible for themselves. They don't look at life like that, do they?
Well, look at what this reality gives us. It is full of distractions. We're bombarded with them. It's that biblical passage about taste no more the waters, drink only the wine. It means go within. It's shut your eyes to the outside illusory negative world because that's all it's doing. It's suggestions onto humanity who get a feeling from what they see or hear. It's in everything, but the real signs are given to us in nature. They're given to us in the stars. That's what we should really be looking at, and also looking within ourselves. I mean, we're in 5 senses. Below 5, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Above 5, you've got 6, 7, 8, 9. As above, so below. We're in the middle on that. We need to raise ourselves up to the 9 level. We are in the 4th dimension, but you only see a snapshot of it, a frame of it. If you could see the entirety of a lifespan of a vessel, that's the 4th dimension. You're only seeing a bisected split second of it, but it's there. So we're actually in the 4th dimension, but being focused on 3 dimensions. But a dimension, by definition, is something that can be measured. So time is the 4th dimension, and obviously you've got space as well. But we want to go beyond those realms. Be more expansive in our thinking, in our consciousness, because we're at the most constricted level. Again, look at a child plays with a toy car. It's not a real car, but the imagination will power that car. It might have opening doors and a bonnet, but that's about it. But we're replicating as children what the Creator has created in man. It's a restricted version of itself for experience. In a way, I mean, children will, like with cars, they might put them in a head-on collision. Now, if you take that in the context of now put it into real life, you have a head-on collision. Well, it's no different from what the child has done. Okay, you haven't got any deaths involved, hopefully, with that. But the analogy is exactly the same. We're being creators when we're using our imagination. That is all it takes. I mean, it took 24 years for the Titanic to sink. From all the people that read the book, read that story, that feeling is in there, unconscious. 24 years later, it comes out. It's also a story telling you what depths will they go to. Well, I don't know what the measurement is, but it will go a long way down to get the point across to humanity. Sorry, I yield.
Yeah, you've got to work yourself out. I think it's one of the biggest things that you can do for yourself and for mankind is to work yourself out. Once you do, your life changes and you see things differently. But that doesn't mean that other people don't come into your life and they pretend that they're something else when they're not. That happens though, doesn't it? They pretend, or they tell you things, but their actions don't match up with their words. I think a lot of people are like that.
Well, that's a pattern with everything. To get you to buy a product or to buy into something, it's an advert, which is making it. It's like with a car; they show you the top of the range model and then quote you the price for the basic model. It's the illusion. I mean, you look at, I don't know, in a jeweler's shop, you see all those different color precious stone rings. They all look impressive when they're all together, but you've got to pick one. It's all in tight, and people do it. A job interview, you will put on your best impression of yourself because you want to impress somebody else and sell yourself, as it were. So it's different. It depends on what the intent is behind it and at what level it's done at. But it's a repeat pattern in this reality. If you think about it, flowers do it. They give their best impression when the sun's out and they're in full bloom, but then they decay again. Roses will drop the petals and things. It's across everything in this reality. I mean, you can focus on like narcissism. That is putting up an advert. Ooh.
What you mean? That's what it means.
Yeah, everything follows that pattern of an advert presenting the best. I mean, we're a present, so we should present ourselves as a present, a gift, not as something awful or negative or a worse version of ourselves. But that's down to us reinventing ourselves. It's described in the Bible as clay. Well, with clay, if you don't like the pot you've made, you reform it into something else. That's what we're doing with our minds. We're reforming because it's all about reminding and remembering, because on the other end of the scale you can be dismembered, hung, drawn and quartered. But this is all in the mind, where if we change our mindset, we change reality, quite literally. Imaginal acts create facts, to quote Neville Goddard. There's a science behind it as well. The slit experiment, the photons will react totally different between whether they're being observed or not being observed. And from that's a scientific proof. It's quantum potential. The observation, in other words, what we project out from our first eye, our scion, affects reality on that reality bubble that is around us. From that, call it magnetics, call it frequencies, call whatever you want to call it. It's all doing the same thing. It's what we send out is what we will get back.
Thank you, James. Claudio's changed his picture. Claudio? Claudio. He's changed it again.
They're screaming their drill over here right now. So as soon as they stop, I just wanted to share something with you because obviously this is probably telling me that we need to get off now. So, oh, they stopped. James,
well,
I just wanted to share this one thing, Karen, if I may.
Sure.
Okay, so this is for those people that want to look to see the relationship between the Egyptians, the Dendera Zodiac, and the Bible. Some beautiful brother or sister, I can't recall, gave me this book, and everything happens for a reason. So I'm just going to share my screen now, and then I just want to show you the name of the book so people can have it. And then I want to bring you down to the one page. There's so much beautiful things in here. I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm going to go over to it. So it's called Ancient Egypt, Light of the World, a work of reclamation and restitution in 12 books, volume 2. If you want to go to archive.org, the best thing to do is just put the name of the book you're looking for and then space archive.org in a Google search. It finds it for you instead of having to look through their cumbersome way. So if anybody needs a copy, let me know. I'll put it up on my Google Drive. But you go down to, which is really nice, the page is 906, which is pretty cool. You'll see that they've got a beautiful section here of all the different exact things, the mysteries, the miracles. So Egyptian on one side, Christian on the other. I just highlighted these for a post that we made. So it goes through the whole thing. Like the Holy Spirit is Ra. Well, that's God, the Holy Spirit, right? Isis, the Virgin Mother of EU, her son, or Mary, the Virgin Mother of Jesus. So this gives you the complete, and it goes on and on and on and on, which I haven't read all yet. So if anybody's interested in learning Adendra and how this is just it's a story. It's not an actual story. It's this, the story of the Bible is a story of us walking in footsteps of a Christ, of a Jesus, because we are gods. But we'll keep dying on the cross should we not go towards one love. That's the infinite rebirths. So I just wanted to share this book if somebody wants to learn what the true meaning of, head towards a true meaning of what our life and our journey is here. And here's all the proof of that. The Egyptians had the exact same story. But these are stories about us, not about some one person in time. That's what I wanted to hear, and I'm good.
That's absolutely beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Claudio.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Yeah. Sorry, my daughter's come home and making a bit of noise. I'm going to shut my door because she's on the phone. We have been going for an hour and a half. Do you want to carry on for a bit?
I'm happy to for a little bit if you like. Yeah.
Should we go for another 10, 20 minutes or something?
Yeah. I can give you an amusing external story, which shows more of the ludicrousy of this reality. I'll come back to that.
Yeah, I have 10 more minutes, and then I do have another appointment. So
I said to another, I had the local radio for the news on, and it's saying that the local borough council within 4 years is going to be bankrupt. I said, well, you can kiss goodbye to borough council refuse collection. That will be contracted out to Serco or Biffa or something like that. But I said to her, I said, think of it this way. I said, I think you'll agree from what we're told that the population of this town now is far bigger than it's ever been. So what would the cost of building a town hall be in 1870? Bearing in mind you've got a much smaller population. How could they have done that then? But we've now got a totally incompetent council that has totally mismanaged public funds and is heading towards bankruptcy. This script and this reality is just so ridiculous, because what would it cost to build that town hall in today's money? See how daft this whole reality is. You're gonna laugh at it, because to take it any other way is just going to leave you feeling negative and being sucked into it again. I've watched about 4 or 5 things on Netflix, and would you believe what the theme has been through? It's been pandemics, artificial humanoid replacements for humanity, and masks. Some of these things are coming out of Russia. It's hilarious, and I just watch it just to see what are they trying to show us this time. And it's showing, one of them showing the UK and the whole of Scotland above Hadrian's Wall has been locked down, and then there's a new outbreak of this, what do they call it? Reaper virus, they call it, and this whole compressed area of London. And I actually dispute this whole 7.5 billion. I think what they're showing on the Georgia Guidestones is nearer the truth, because wherever you live, you try and count people and come up with a figure that they tell you are in that voting area, or however they want to divide it. It's almost impossible to do, to even verify if there's this many people in the world. I think a lot of it is just shown as fear. You could even say Bill Gates saying we want to reduce the population by 15%, and everybody's jumping on it and saying, oh, he's going to wipe out. Well, maybe the balance is 500,000 people, and that's all there really are in the world. Who knows? I'm not going to worry about it because it's all external. But I'm not going to really look at anything else in this external world, because all it's telling me is everything is a lie. It's not actually benefiting me. It's just confirming something I've seen over and over, really. Who cares who gets in? It won't be a vote choice. It'll be
only the govern your mind is getting in. Govern the mind is getting in.
Yeah, well, this is where we need to be our own governments. I mean, every law is invalid because of the syntax. It's the way it's worded. The courts work on verbs and they don't work in facts, and they know this. This is why you've got documents and with certain punctuation marks, but it's like a pen, would you believe, can be classed as a concealed weapon because you can stab someone in the throat with a pen. But if you say it's how you word things, with my pen or for my pen, it's like negative signs. No parking is actually illegal. It should say, for the parking in this place will incur a fine, would be the right wording for that. But they trick everybody with all this. But if we tell them, then they would know. If they understand it, they know that they are sinners once we've told them. But unfortunately, we're all being caught out with this crooked criminal justice system if we allow ourselves to be fooled by it. But it's walking two worlds, because it means ripping up the passport, ripping up the driving license, getting rid of the bank cards, the Lbry cards. Can any of us really totally live like that at the moment? But I feel that we can change this reality, and we can create the world we want. We can have heaven on earth. This is, I think, what is, if we're going to create something, let's create something worthwhile. Let's not have any more of this carnage and perceived endless wars and famine and all this nonsense. Let's have something worth living, so we can really be alive rather than being asleep in a conscious daze, really.
Yeah, because this point is, if you're awake, you can't say. Everybody's wearing MASKSs. Everybody's distant and out there. And even if you're awake, you're hiding behind it right now because you can't talk to anybody.
Well, that's only because people are following a government advice, but they're not governing their own mind, are they? They're listening to an outside thing. I mean, people want to wear those masks, they're welcome. But really, I would suggest they listen to someone who's worked in personal protective equipment, PPE. A guy who was an editor of a magazine, and he says that those masks are impregnated with Teflon. They're a carcinogenic that causes cancer. That alone should make people think twice about wearing them. And then when you look at some of the things that the conflicting reports that they're giving us from the CDC, from the UK sites, some are saying you shouldn't be wearing masks, some are saying you should. It's just keeping people in confusion. They just got them running around in circles. It's like a almighty sort of, well, it is an almighty game of chess. It is, everything is the creator. It's playing all the parts, and we're just characters in the script. But,
Hey, James.
Yeah.
Claudio says that he's got to go. Claudio?
Oh, sorry.
No. Wait a minute, Claudio.
No, it's totally fine. I was just saying, if I could just get a moment there, I was going to try to bust in too, but I do got to go. And appreciate.
Is there any thoughts
everything.
that you want to say at the end, Claudio?
Just stick with the program of jumping into one love. Don't let anything that is not good enter your mind. Jump in. We are living it. We're experiencing it. It feels fantastic. It's absolutely 100% achievable. All you got to do is understand the tests that are coming in front of you. If people are coming into your life and you say, well, boy, I don't have good luck. Well, no, it's a lesson. Because you keep treating the people the way you're treating them, and you're not looking at them as brothers and sisters on their journey. And you got to jump away from that And the way you do that is meet everything with love. If you do that, watch your whole world change. We've done this with people. They're seeing it. They're watching it. We're watching them grow. They're feeling these beautiful emotions. Now, at the same time, they still get tested like we all do, but they're all just tests. Again, if you want to skip a couple grades, if you want to ascend, you want to get towards one love quicker, it's all you got to do. It's that simple. So I leave with that. Thank you so much, Karen. James, awesome that you jumped in. Love it, man. I always love talking with you. It's
Likewise.
such a pleasure.
It's lovely listening to you.
Everybody be well, and we'll see you in one love.
Claudio, thank you so much for your words and everything, and hopefully it's all resonated with the right people, and we carry on, and hopefully more people watch the video and wake up.
Awesome.
Claudio, thank you so much.
All right, just jump into that vibe. Take care, everybody. Love you.
Love you too, Claudio.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Claudio. It's just you and me now, James.
Okay, well, it's a case of use your imagination. From the UK perspective, I'm sure you've heard the jokes about an Englishman, a Scotsman and an Irishman. It's always the Irishman that gets made out to be stupid. Well, flip the script. The centre of learning, where the wealthy were supposed to send all their children in the, was it 13th and 14th century, was Ireland, the Emerald Isle. But just listen to an Irish saying, "Oh, be Jesus." Well, be that character. Just be that character. I mean, take away the personification of the name. Be Karen Christ. I can be James Christ, Claudio Christ. Anybody can be a Christ. As it says in Paul's letters to, I forget which one it is. It says, do you not know that Christ is within you? I was asked about Genesis to explain when it says Adam, or male and female created them. It's talking about the divine masculine, the divine feminine, the two halves of the brain, bringing them back together. Eve means before. Adam means red-blooded one, or earth. Well, the red chakra is the base chakra, so you go up to the seventh chakra, which is the Noah. Those names spell out a message, those states that are personified from Adam to Enoch. I mean, Enoch is your classic truth seeker.
I'm having a hangout.
Yeah.
I'm having a hangout with the Devil's Playground channel, and he sent me loads of stuff, and he's broken down the Bible as well.
Brilliant. Excellent.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, but that sounds fascinating. I mean, there's so many ways of breaking it down, because you've got the astrology.
He put in there that people didn't realise that it was Jesus. It's consciousness.
Yeah, it is the Christ consciousness. If you think about it, when the story goes that Adam and Eve had both had the bite of the apple and got the knowledge of good and evil, they then cover themselves with fig leaves. Well, it's shown to you right there. And I think most people in public would feel self-conscious if they were naked. But we're all naked in the eyes of God, because the eye is your first eye, between your two temples. God is in Golgotha.
Quite a lot of literature, but I think it would take me too long to read it. And anyway, I'm doing this hangout with him on Friday.
Yeah, excellent, good. That's this is a way forward. People want to know who they are. The answer, and people say it in any language. If you introduce yourself, you'd say, "I am this," or "I am that," depending on what you want to put behind it. Most people, when they ask you, they will say, "What do you do for a living?" And they judge you from that. They're not asking you about you. They're asking from a.
Is it that you have to find? I always thought when I was younger that it's a bit like we've got this communication, or we've got different letters on our heads. Like I might be a B and you might be a B, but you meet people who are D's and F's or A's, and everybody's at a different place in it. But you probably do attract them, but I don't know why really, because I often attract
Well,
people who tell me that there's something that they're not.
that's the time. If you keep getting them, it's telling you to say, right, there's something in me that I need to change. No offense, but this is generally for everybody. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm a miserable bugger. If I'm,
But if you're a certain way, that means that I have to completely change myself to not maybe then attract these people, but I'm who I am. Surely people can love me for who I am.
yeah. There's also, if you get enough of these people sent to you, as much as anything else, it's a message to avoid any of their traits. I mean, who's to say it's a sliding scale? I mean, I might only have got 50% of myself right, and the other bit I've still got to work on. It's all looking at yourself, how you're coming across. Have I said something to somebody and upset them? Have I said something and not carried it out, not kept to my word that I've said to them? All these sort of things we've all got to keep continuously evaluating ourselves all the time. But don't try and use the conscious reason to fathom this out. Just go with the trust of the gut feeling.
But you struggle with it yourself, don't you? With people that live round you, your family, your friends, they're not with you. You know, like when you wake up, they're over there and you're over here.
Well, I like to think of this as pretty much like a grid system of the earth, that those of us that have got to, for want of a better way of saying it, a certain level of spiritual growth, that's where maybe like the antennas of this spiritual, well, it's basically a thought current that is flowing.
But don't you find like you're trying to help everybody, right, by putting your information out and hopefully people listen? That's what your video's out now on Sun and Moon.
Oh, thank you.
So
Thank you.
people are starting to watch that now. But you said it's up to you. But most people, they can't see any further than their feet.
Well, it depends what they've got going on in their lives and what they're focusing their attention on. I mean,
so I know that Claudio wouldn't like it because he likes to keep us, you know, into this like loving and everything's beautiful and that's where you put it in your mind. But most people aren't like that.
Well,
and whereas we talk about ourselves and talk about things, we're a bit more open, even if it's on the internet. These people aren't. They might say, oh yeah, but they don't live anything like they just said that they would.
A lot of it, it's been very interesting. Every now and again, I look in the YouTube studio and it'll give you a breakdown of your audience age range. Now, pretty much everybody I'm speaking to is between 45 and 65. And if you think about it, under 45, they're going to have children, they're going to have mortgages, their heads are filled with this exterior world. It's no wonder they haven't got time.
Or is it how much you've grown up in yourself? Because I've got people who've got little children. Tammy's one, she's lovely.
Yeah.
Nim's another one. They're much younger, but they understand.
That's fantastic.
As a person, I was younger, I understood.
I think, well,
you have to, the earlier you work yourself out as a person, and you know, it's a bit like you have to go in yourself and you have to unturn everything and not be afraid of yourself. Not, you know, like a lot of people, they don't even know why they feel what they do. They have to go back and work out when they got those feelings, what they mean. Whereas I know what I am. I know what my feelings mean. I know if I get angry, I know, and I can explain it. But a lot of people can't do that.
Well, a lot of people will straight away, because the way they've been programmed, is they will get defensive and they've got to defend their position. They've got to have the last word or whatever. But it's down to every individual. The thing with any of this, it's very difficult to even, beyond saying everything around you is a lie, but to then explain how everything is a lie. A lot of people, it's so
We've
much
got some
information.
research together, haven't we? Do you remember when we started looking at the pictures and we started to do the 1800s? You were there for it, and I was really shocked when I worked out most of those pictures weren't real and there was something wrong with them.
Yeah.
Many parts of it. I mean, there's not just about you. There's about history and like it's about all things. But the more you know, the more open you are.
But if you think about it for ourselves, how long it's taken to get to the point where we can talk about all these different subjects, and then you've got somebody who's got no idea about any of this because they've never been opened or even shown it.
What do you think the difference is? Like you, Claudio, and me, we actually put ourselves out, we make videos and we try and talk to people. These people are only watching. Lots of people only watch.
Well, it doesn't suit everybody. I mean, I've said to people when they've said, oh, I couldn't appear on video. I said, well, just make a video for yourself to see how you come across. You don't have to put it out in public. But there's many other ways of expressing it. There's quite a few artists. Rosie was saying that while they're painting, their minds are actually on their self-discovery, and they're sharing stuff as they're painting to people. There's numerous. It's using your imagination. It's like, okay, I don't want to talk on camera. Well, you might have somebody they're more gifted in being able to public speak and actually go into.
You know as well, don't you, James, that you will talk to people, but they won't. And even when you're talking to them, they're going, yeah, but they don't take it in. They just do not take this in. It's like, I don't know what it is. It's like they've got a wall. They just will not take it in. Friends, family, boyfriends, whatever it is, they do not take in what you're saying.
It does seem like we've gone through some sort of enormous Mandela effect where there's a parallel reality that has sort of overlapped. So maybe that's why a lot of people just can't see it. Don't forget that if they're getting a continuous
but a lot of those people are watching the television and don't realise they're being programmed.
Well, this is it. If they're getting a continuous reinforcement from that's telling them the opposite. But it is all about the mirrors, really. It's when they say health and safety, people assume it's their health and safety. It's not. It's talking about the health and safety of the criminals that run the whole system.
Oh yeah, those things are usually just like terms and conditions. Most people think that's for you, but it isn't. That's just saying what you're not what those companies are not responsible for.
Well, it's the
opposite of what you think. You think, oh look, those terms and conditions, they're for me, but they're not. They're just to tell you what they're not responsible.
Everything that's certified or registered is a term or condition of a corporation. I mean, I thought of it earlier. The 1972 Local Government Act. They became borough councils. Before that, they were corporations. So they've always been they've just changed the name of them, rebranded them. It's like Kentucky Fried Chicken can't be called Kentucky Fried Chicken because it's lab-grown chicken. It's not real chicken anymore. That's why it's now KFC. They do tell you these things. I mean, look at the signs on the shops. It says, please wear a mask. It doesn't say you have to wear a mask. That's down to people assuming. And they're, I better go along with that. And a lot of people are too. I mean, it has come to blows in some areas where between people.
I just think the whole thing they put us in. They weren't expecting us to give up so easily. Like they weren't expecting to grab everybody with these things. That's what I think.
It's at the end of the day, it's all the creator. To be honest, I mean, discovering how much true power we really have, what we can do with our minds. We only use like 10% of it, but the potential of what we can do with it. No wonder you've got this huge bombardment to hide it. Again, it's mirrors. All the things it's showing you. I thought the most hilarious joke is these wind turbines are not recyclable. Well, isn't that all about renewable energy? So surely the materials that these things were made of should be out of renewable energy. I mean, what a joke. The whole thing is a joke. Now they're talking about oceans full of these masks. And that's down to people. You can't blame anybody apart from the individual who threw that mask down instead of being responsible. If there's such a deadly virus, then why aren't people being responsible? Why aren't they being incinerated? People just don't see the most obvious things in front of them. But it's like sick humour that's being played out to us, really. The thing is to not take the fear from it, see it for what it really is. It's all, the only power is in the suggestions that people take on board from what they're showing you. Oh, doom and gloom, a plane has crashed, all these people have died, people are starving, and this number of people are dying this from hunger, and it's ridiculous. It's all designed to put you in a negative state, which does affect health, because when you feel tense and constricted, your whole DNA and everything all tenses up and closes up. I'm starting to see people out there starting to look ill.
Do you think that what it is? A lot of people, when they're watching this television and all this kind of stuff, they obviously don't know who they are as people, because they're trying to capture it. You know, I have this question: do you live inside out or outside in? And actually, I think you're supposed to live is inside out, because you're you as a person, and you live out. Yeah, you might get a new car or a holiday or something like that, but if you're living outside in, a lot of these people must be living outside in because they're so small inside.
They've not had a chance to be a human being. They're being encouraged all the time to be a human doing. They're taking actions all the time, physical actions, when it's actually about taking actions in the mind. But is it any wonder? It's a continuous bombardment. I mean, look at the working hours. They gradually crept up from 7.5 hours to like a 13-hour split shift. People are exhausted. They're kept tired on purpose, because the system does not want.
Well, yeah, I did videos myself. You know, when you look at the past, it's quite gruesome, and it's all about depressions and wars. The future looks like wars as well, or horrible things. And then in the present, you can't be there because you can't get on with people. You're falling out with your relationships, whatever's going on in your life, your parents, your friends. And so you can't even be in the present, and they keep you busy, don't they? And then you're working, and you've got the commitments, money, family. Yeah, it is quite hard. But you needed to be a full person to have the children, to have the wife, to have the girlfriend. And if you're not, then you're always going to meet the same things. And I think sometimes when people haven't worked themselves out, they get feelings and they think, oh, it's the other person. But it isn't. It's them, because they never work their feelings out.
This is it. On the positive side, there's a growing number of people, probably not so much because the weather's starting to change, but the reaction from a lot of people, they've not even looked or questioned anything, but they're getting out in nature, they're going on nature walks and things, they're escaping from it. So
that's found a way out. People are just escaping.
Yeah, but they're going out into nature. That in itself is wonderful, because they're keeping that contact with nature, where we're all being like pushed into these tower blocks and cities and things, and it's constricted. Well, yeah, and it also gives the impression that there are a lot more people by doing that. If you compact people into small areas, well, yeah, it does look like. I mean, if you go into London or a city like Sheffield, you're going to think, yeah, there must be 7.5 billion people in the world. But if you were to go to northern Canada, would you be thinking that way? Or even northern Scotland? It's head per square mile is drastically reduced, and your impression will be totally different of the world around you. But I mean, one of the most ludicrous programs, as the soaps go, is EastEnders. Well, the answer is obvious. Rather than being miserable and living around that Albert Square, well, you sell your property because you're in London, so it's high prices, and you move out.
Yeah, I do think those programs, oh my goodness, sorry, a bit of a reverb there. They don't realise that they are living EastEnders. That's what their own life is like.
Well, yeah, it's either EastEnders or Westminster, the same thing, really.
I'm saying they don't realise their whole life is like a soap opera.
I have to say, I do love Trump, not as a politician, but as an actor. I think he plays that part really well. I definitely give him a Claudio.
WWE wrestler.
Well, he plays the part well. He's got people convinced he's real and he's a president. He's just an actor. He's a joke. I love the way his voice goes up and down when he's talking about things. There's an art to it.
Depends which Trump you've got.
Well, I just look at them all as cartoon characters, to be honest, and that's a change of mindset. And now I'm laughing at them. I'm not taking
Do you
them
think people
seriously.
are too afraid of that? Like, they're too afraid. I'm not saying the people that come to this channel. I'm just saying people in general. They can't look at all that because they've spent all their life being programmed. You know, education, the whole thing, and then you tell them it's not real, and they go, "It's real." No, it's you. You've got that wrong. Because they can't take on board.
If you think about it, what's been done is everything has been taken away from them. The analogy I gave to it is like being dropped in the middle of the Atlantic at night in the freezing cold water, and you don't know which way to swim from there. It's an unpleasant feeling. You can't blame people for not wanting to face that. It's a horrible phase to have to go through.
I mean, it's a shock. I mean, they don't realise it's a shock for us as well. Like, maybe not now, but I just remember, you know, when you find out this other information, which is so different, it's a bit shocking because the world is going one way and you're going another.
Yeah. Well, you object to this reality, and that is quite literal. You create from the imagination and it comes into as a physical object in this reality. So it is right to object to an objectify, because our imagination.
And also, when you do that, you change your life a bit when you think differently. I'm not saying that I spend a lot of time in my home because I don't want to go out there with the narcissists and the sheeple, but a lot of people can't handle that because they want to be part of the pack.
Well, it's the way they've been conditioned. I mean, you think with school, you're suddenly plunged into a class with, I don't know what, 20, 24 other strangers of similar age. That is such a culture shock from when you're a toddler and you're at home with mostly with one parent, or one adult, or you've only got like 3 or 4 authority figures in your life until you go to school. Then suddenly it's a culture shock. I mean, that's a shock in itself. And now you're being told when you can go to the toilet and everything, and when you can eat. Talk about programming. God. It was a horrible experience to go through. I go through it again.
The whole world is made up so that you need, children just want to be adults, and I remember like, no, you don't, because as an adult you've got to be responsible. There'll be bills and everything like that, and that young life should have been much more enjoyed. That's what I think. But you don't think that when you're a kid. All you want to do is grow up, and then when you grow up, you realise you've got years and years of being in a program.
Well, think of the children's programs we were given. Something like Scooby-Doo. How many people wanted a mystery machine, or all the material things, and it's reinforcing status. If you've got a Rolls Royce, you're better than that person. It's all programming that's why they're called programs. But it's all about from the subtle levels. You're in this team, the blue team or the red team on sports day. You're competing against each other. It's reinforcing this all the time instead of working together and pulling together. It's very subtle. But it takes that. I think this is why a lot of us that are going through various stages of awakening have gone through some quite traumatic periods in their life. So everything comes crashing down around us, so we can be still and re-examine everything. It all seems to be part of the process. But I feel like I'm coming out the other side of it now. So I spend my time laughing at so much, and because it's so ludicrous. It's like I just can't take any of it seriously anymore. And I feel happier. So yeah, life is wonderful. 2020 is definitely the year of clear vision, I think. So see what the next few years bring. It's going to be wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, that was sorry. When I click through, it makes a noise. I think it's better to know who you are as a person.
Yeah. Yeah, you've got a point of reference. Then you're the center of your universe.
When you work yourself out, excuse me, when you work yourself out, you've got a lot more to give to other people. If you don't know who you are, you don't trust anybody.
No.
Once you know who you are, you can give out to other people. And that's why, you know, if you're full of love, then you can give much more love out. If you don't know who you are and because you don't believe anybody or don't believe anything, you've got nothing to give.
Yeah, this is it. Well, that's saying you can't give from an empty cup. I've just thought, and I'm going to have to take part in a black magic ritual. I'm going to have to look up at time and see that it's 6:30, and I know my mother's going to want to eat soon. So I'm going to have to sort of go fairly soon.
Yeah, well, we I think, you know, we're here to help as well, aren't we?
Yeah.
To talk to, you know, so people can hear us talking and hear our minds and hear where we are, and hopefully it resonates with everyone else.
Well, as I pointed out, if you look at the Hippocratic Oath that the doctors take, part of it, rather than giving medication, is a sympathetic ear, kind words. Well, we can all be doctors to each other with that, can we not? When we all have down days, we'll have bad days, and we can all lift each other up again, pull together, or out to get her together. That's where we want to be, together, working as
I
one.
think when you know who you are as a person, you're much calmer inside.
Yeah. Well, look at the word there, karma and karma. Well, there's a wonderful thing going around at the moment. People saying, "Oh, karma's getting more instant." Well, it will, because more and more people are saying it, and they're thinking it and feeling it, and then they're seeing things happening in front of them and saying, "That's instant karma at work." So this is wonderful. Look how far that potential can go, and it's down to whatever thought you give out, that's going to come back. If you think, "I want to kill that person," that might come back on you. I can give you a testimony of that one from the Neville Goddard talks about. The union leader of the subway system actually got put in prison on the 7th occasion, and he wished the judge to have a heart attack, and he actually died in prison of a heart attack within a few days. So yeah, it can come back, and we are basically magnetic energy, and we behave like magnets. And if you look at the diagrams of the way magnets work, it goes out and comes back. It's torus fields, it's our auras. So yeah, we're going to love one another. That's what, as Claudio says, it's very true.
And also, not being horrible, most people are selfish. A lot of people are really, really selfish.
Yeah, because of the way they've been programmed to be. It's breaking the bad habits. It's like, if we do it, then lead by example, show by our actions, and soul by soul, we'll change this. It'll just keep growing. So we've got this. I mean, there's no such thing as time. Just remember the future. This is already won. It's where every time I go shopping, I don't look forward to the experience. What I do, I picture myself sitting here in the chair with a cup of coffee, thinking to myself, that wasn't so bad after all. And that's the way it goes. Because I've put that thought out there, and I let the magic of the creator do the rest. And it works week in, week out.
I had this book, James.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's. Her name's Yolanda Vandervelt, I think. I've got one book up there. I had the other book, but I lent it to someone. It never came back. And that book up there is called Until Today. But the other book she wrote was like a house. So she did the basement, the first floor, the second floor, the third floor, and then the attic. And she says the basement, what's it down there? It's cold, dark, dingy. Nobody knows where they're going. Everybody's bumping into each other, and no one knows where they're going. So that's where most people spend their whole life, down there in the basement. It's dark, cold, and dingy. Yeah. As you go up the floors, you might not have worked everything out yet, but now you're starting to know what the problems are and what you need to work out. And by the time you've got to the attic, you're in unconditional love. And like, for instance, they said, well, there's a little cobweb up there, but you leave it because life will take care of that now.
Yeah.
But when you're in the basement, it's a totally different life. But most people lived in the basement of life. They'd never, ever come out of it. Dark, cold, dingy, bumping into everybody, not knowing what's going on, not knowing where to go.
I think they do come out of the basement. The trouble is they go as far as the living room, and what do they watch? The television.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, I'm going with let's take the short route. It says in the Bible about finding the Christ within, and the keys to the kingdom will be given to you. So that's got to be an easier route than going through all the rest of it. So,
because the more you understand and the more wise you become, you change towards how you are towards other people.
Yeah. I mean, I feel expansive. I feel like I could do cartwheels, and I feel really happy.
Go on then, let's see one. I'm only joking.
No, I'm not actually going to do one. But I can in my imagination. I can fly in my imagination, can't I? I'm not restricted by a physical body. So I'll spend half the time there.
We've been going for 2.25 hours now, James.
Yeah.
Do you want to go on a bit longer, or do you think that's enough?
Better stop really, because I'll get calls for making dinner or something soon. I know.
Yeah, you sent me some pictures of your dinners. They look very nice.
Oh, thank you. It's I just go with the basis.
Anyway, the good thing is that we've met each other and we know we're real people.
Yes. Yeah. Again, just don't think, oh, they might be a CIA agent and they're going to dispose of my body. Don't think like that. Just go with your gut feeling on everything. That's your best guide. If something feels right, then it is right. If something feels wrong, then it is wrong, regardless of what the reasoning, the senses tell you in this reality. Just go with your gut feeling. That is by far your best guide. That's the Christ consciousness within you. It's the solar plexus, the place of the sun. It's within everybody. It's just finding that light inside, basically. But when you do that, you project it out. And we will change this reality and make it into something wonderful.
Yeah, so but I still think the biggest thing to do is to get to know who you are as a person, because that really, really helps.
Yeah, I want to green the world up. We'll have cannabis plants going everywhere.
Okay, I like your world, James. Anyway, James and Claudio's gone, obviously, but it's been really great chatting, and hopefully people understand that, the spiritual side of things, because I think that, without that, I think you're an empty vessel.
Yeah, it's a case of just take 5-10 minutes out just to just sit within yourself, and
that's probably the other thing that people don't do. Like you said, everybody's so busy. You've got children, you've got bills, you've got this, you've got that. You're worrying about all that you never sit down and have that half an hour of silence, or even going in yourself and thinking.
Yeah, this is it.
Each day is just a repetition of the same thing over and over again. And then people, I mean, you can see it in pictures. When children are small, they jump up and down and they're away. And when you get as an adult and they take pictures, the face gets lower and lower and lower.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I have grown up, but I still think that I understand that we're just big children. And I've got a little child in me. We've still got that child in us. So it's better to be childlike a bit, but as long as an adult's looking after you.
Yeah. Well, the other way to do it, as well as doing the 5-10 minutes for yourself, then those that are closest around you take an interest in them. Say, how's your day been? And that'll change the way they are, because they're like, oh, they're taking an interest.
But do you think that happens as well? Is like when we, a lot of people that come on this channel, a lot of people have woken up, including Amy, including Trouble About Gillian, you, Claudio, me. We don't watch the television. We might make videos, or I might use footage. I don't usually listen to it when I'm breaking it down. But we're not watching the television, and that television, it clouds you up so much, and it makes you think, oh, I want one of those. I need one of those. That's what that's about.
that's what adverts are. They're adding verse. They're
Once you cut
basically
the
following.
television out, you start thinking and feeling.
Well, adverts follow the same pattern as a narcissist. It's giving you a false impression.
Yeah.
They'll show you the top of the range thing and then quote you the price for the basic. So you think you're going to get what you're seeing on the screen, and very small print it is say basic model price quoted or something like that. They tell you the truth, but look at the small print. That's the terms and conditions being shown there. And it's like, and falling for that.
Yeah, honestly, the best thing everybody can do is turn that lie vision off. It's only a lie on a vision. It's only making you want something that's not real. You've got to buy it or buy into it.
That is it. You buy in and sell out.
Yeah.
And you don't want yourselves on the outside. You're an awful mess.
Yeah. Anyway, James, it's been really great talking with you and Claudio. I'd like to say mwah, Claudio, mwah, James, and mwah, chat room.
Yeah. Yes. Especially love to all the audience, whether you listen to it live or on the premiere or in a recording later on. So hopefully you can take something out of all of this that'll lift your spirits, and it's not all doom and gloom. It's actually really good.
No.
I mean,
I think it's what they're trying to do with this right now. It's worse for people who are awake, because at least if you're asleep, you believe it. When you're awake, you don't.
Think of it the other way around. If this great year takes 25,920 years, what a wonderful time to witness it all, because we're going to see the change. What could be better than that? We're going from age of Pisces to Aquarius. That's only once every 2,160 years. I ain't going to be here to see the next one in this form. So yeah, bring it on. It's going to be a wonderful thing to see. What a thing to tell your grandchildren. The change of age.
I'm glad that you're so happy about that, James. But we're going to finish now. James, we'll say goodbye afterwards. But for the hangout, thank you very much. I'm going to press the stop button now. Thank you, James. Thank you, Claudio. Thank you, chat room.
Ta-ta for now.
Ta-ta, James.